right, welcome to the cookout, man. Hey, it's your boy DapperDom. We got my man DapperDom. Hey, it might look a little different around here because it's just a dynamic duo today, man. We've been, hitting the guests and getting some things knocked out of the way, man. But we thought it was time for us to get back to our roots and just DapperDom, TheeAlexMac, chop it up a little bit, man. It's about the middle of the year, and we're going to talk about resetting. We're going to talk about where we at with our goals, resolutions, what it looks like to start over, man. We're going to give you something raw and real today. So you already know how it is. We like to kick it off with chop it up for our guests. But before we do that, man, you know my man DapperDom, we got to take care of house business, man.
House business, man. Go ahead, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Also, too, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Apple or Spotify, hey, we appreciate you accepting our invitation to the cookout today, man. So,
hey, like we like to say, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah, each one reach one.
That's all it takes. Is just one, man. Yeah. We be seeing y'all. We grown. We seeing y'all get in the comments, man. Keep tapping in with us. Let us know. We trying to make this an organic experience. Yeah. And the only way we do that is by getting you guys reaching out to us, man. So just keep it up. We appreciate the love, man.
And hey, also, we appreciate y'all watching our reels, but hey, watch the episodes too. Just don't watch the reels. Hey, even if you feel like you need to break it up, hey, I'm going to watch 20 minutes or listen to 20 minutes, then I'm going to listen to the next 20, 25 minutes the next day. You ain't got to listen to us all the way through if you don't want to, but please, we appreciate you listening to us, not just catching the reels.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, man, chop it up, man. So I know we say like, in this segment, man, we either talk about current events or we might give you like appetizer to what's come later on in the show. But since it's just been us, it hadn't been us for a while, bro. We literally just finna chop it up, man. I'm finna catch up with you, bro. Like, how's life, man? How's life?
Hey, man, life is good, man. Yeah. Life is, we've talked and in between, trying to get stuff for the cookout ready. Yeah. I'm at a phase in life where it's about trying to continue to take it to the next level. But I think the biggest thing is just trying to stay focused, man. Focused on, and we had an opportunity to meet with someone that we're going to get on the show and just keep the main thing, right? And I think that could be, it seems so simple, but, you get to going, day by day, and it can feel monotonous at times.
For sure.
Hey, I'm on this training regimen or I'm on this diet. It feels like, man, like it's not giving me that spark. And we talk about social media a lot where it's like, man, You see there and you see people just popping. Hey, I'm over here. I'm vacationing and I'm on this yacht. I'm doing this, and it's like that can distract you sometimes from where you're trying to go, man. But man, life is good, man. I love where the podcast is going professionally, man. Things are really on the up and up. Yeah. School's about to be out, man. So about to get ready for the summer and everything that comes with that, with basketball and vacationing and all of that, man. But it's crazy that we already at the, close to the midpoint, but just trying to keep things going, man. What about on your end?
Man, I think we talked about at the beginning of the year, which is crazy. Like we're almost halfway through the year. Like talked about like me and you are not like big, like resolution or just, like we have goals and stuff we want to accomplish, but like we're more like words and like phrases. And I think like the phrase I talked about was like, take the limits off God. You know what I'm saying? And like, so that was my phrase for the year, man. And like, I kind of fast forward to now. And when I said that phrase, when that phrase was just stirring in my spirit, right now it's not really looking like I thought it was going to look. You know what I'm saying? So when I said like, take the limits off God,
yes, sir.
I didn't know that somewhere I had been for 14 years that I was going to be, let go and like looking for a new adventure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And so now I'm just in this space of just trying to figure out, like, how do I reset? Which, like, kind of like what we're going to talk about, like, on the grill today. One, just kind of get into, like, man, why do we think, like, people don't, like, accomplish their goals? With those resolutions they make in the beginning of the year. Also, too, man, like, what are some ways to reset? Like, how do you reset? Like, how do I reset? Also, too, man, like, is there times, which I just kind of alluded to and probably dive more deeper into it, like times in our life where we've had to reset, hit that reset button, man. So, just kind of asking you, man, just to go and bounce it back to you. Why do you think, like, sometimes people don't, like, reach their goals?
Man, I think it's a lot of, factors that go into that. I think, one of it is, sometimes doing the same thing like over and over,
Mm-hmm.
it gets boring, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as humans, like, we like excitement.
Okay.
Some of us can, do, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna eat this, and I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna go and do that, and I'm gonna go get on the bike. And for a good portion of us, it's that the thrill piece of it.
Yeah.
But I also, something that we talked about with the finance doctor, Dr. Clement. If you guys haven't got a chance to go check that one out. More money, more problems.
Yeah.
Show that some love. But he talked about the concept of delayed gratification.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's something that as Americans, as time and as we've gotten more technology and evolved and more advancements, the more we become okay with that, right?
Okay.
Like if you think about social media going viral, like that's not saying, okay, I'm gonna put in work for 2 years, right, or 3 years until it's like, man, I really hit that pinnacle. Or if you think about the concept of fast food, right, like it's hey, I can get this coffee in 3 minutes versus going to take me 15, 5 times that to make it at home. Or I can get this burger, I can get these things. So I think everything that we've been, our programming and our the hardware and software inside of us is more and more about like, how can we do things and do it quickly, whether it's making money, whether it's getting to goals. Yeah. And so I think that changing things has made things difficult. And then I think the other thing that he talked about as well, drop some good gems, is I think a lot of us are comparing ourselves to others. Okay. And I've done it before.
Yeah. You kind of hitting on where my mind went initially. Like I was reading a article in Forbes, and I think her name is like Dr. Michelle Rosen, like did a research study, and she also wrote a book called The 6% Club. And so it talks about only 6% of us actually, the goals we set for the year, actually accomplish them by the end of the year. Wow. And 94%, of course, 94% of us don't, but 80% of that 94 give up within 2 months. And so, and like me just reading that and just thinking through it, man, I think like one of it is kind of what you said. Like one, I think is really not, our goal isn't about us. Like I think like we see something on social media, like, oh man, I see this person living that lifestyle. Yeah. I see that person with this job. It was like, that looks cool. Like I want to make that money. I want to do that. Like, let me go after that. And so it's like, if that isn't tied to something like that's a purpose for me, I'm going to eventually falter when I hit some adversity. So I think one of those things is because it's not really something that we want innately. It's this, we see it, and so we feel like, oh, that looks good. And so when we do have to be consistent to get it, we don't, because it wasn't for us. I think also too, procrastination. And I think there's a lot of layers to procrastination, man. And one we've talked about on the previous show, like that, just that fear of failure. Like saying like, if I put myself out here and then I don't do it, then I look like a failure. When failure is actually a part of the journey to success, like you're going to fail. I think you layer in like decision fatigue. So like, on an average, I think they say we make like 33 to 35,000 decisions a day. So it's like, so if I'm already making, that's, what to eat, what to wear, all of this type of stuff. And so if I'm making that many decisions, so now I'm trying to pivot and do something that I haven't done before, it's going to take a lot of sitting down and thinking and just process and road mapping, which I think also planning goes into that piece too. We just kind of say, nah, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying?
I one thing that you hit on that caught my ear was that adversity word. Okay. Because I feel like it's something that, a concept, as we talked, last year.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just coming organically, so I'm gonna keep throwing them out there.
Keep going.
If you haven't caught our mental health episode
Go
from
ahead.
season 1,
Yeah, go look that up.
It's a 2-parter.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, great one.
Yeah,
and we got a nice surprise for you coming this year. So
yeah,
tap in, get your notification subscriptions ready, because I think we got something special.
Yeah.
That y'all like this year around mental health and men's mental health. But I think a lot of it has been, to me, this, if you think about, the scales, right? They talk about, one thing outweighing the other. I think there's been a swing, and I was, listening to this clip on, obviously, we're doing our social media, so I find myself on there more than usual, or more than what I used to.
Yeah.
But there was a clip where it was basically, asking about, masculinity and where we feel like it's at with men. And so I say all of that to say, I feel like we've almost swung too far into where, people aren't equipped to face tough decisions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or they wilt immediately. And there's something about, whether it's pressure builds diamonds, or like adversity is part of your life journey.
Yeah.
And it's how you deal with it.
Yeah.
It's, obviously coaching kids as we're getting older. Maybe the story isn't as relevant, but it's probably one that we heard growing up about, Michael Jordan getting cut, when he was, middle school, junior high.
Yeah.
That's adversity right there.
Yeah.
If he quits, we don't get those shoes. We don't get any of the things that come with it. If he says, you know what, coach said this about me, I'm just done with basketball, right? So I do think that there is a delicate balance between, acknowledging your feelings and acknowledging that, hey, I'm not happy about this, or I'm sad about this, or I'm mad about this, but I'm not going to let that be the end of my story.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to push through that. And so I do think that there is a lot of, people they get to that speed bump and they're like, nope, this is over. Yeah. And there's no pushing, through it. Even if you hit adversity a couple of times, like I feel like that gives you a story. And obviously we've talked about our backgrounds and our beliefs. Yeah. I hear people say in church all the time, I can't give a testimony without a test.
Yeah.
So how can I talk about all the things? How can I talk about? hey, sometimes we catch the Holy Ghost at the cookout too. Yeah. But it's like, how can I be able to tell that triumphant story?
Yeah.
If I just say I quit, there's no story there at that point.
I was watching the clip. You talk about clips yesterday. Ray Lewis was saying going into his last game of his senior year, he had 0 scholarships. And he said the last game of his career, he was playing, I think, a guy that was either going to Florida State or something like that, and or thinking about going to one of those big schools. And so I think Miami was there to watch this kid. And he was like, I just did what I've always done and gave him my all. And he said, I think 4 days before signing day, Miami called him and said, we're going to offer you.
Dang.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And he was right there.
Yeah, right there. But some kids would be like, man, this is my last game. What's the point?
Yeah.
But then also too, I think to talk about why sometimes we feel like I feel like people don't reach their goals. They don't have a plan in place. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And so I just think about myself, when I graduated high school, I was just told I was gonna go to college. Right. Hey, this is your next step. You gonna go to college. I never thought about what I'm gonna do in college. And so my parents, you're smart, you can do engineering. And I hadn't planned on what I wanted to do. So computer engineering is what I did, man. And so a year and a half later, when I said, when you're doing it for others, once you hit a little adversity, man, you gonna kind of quit, because it's I wasn't doing it for me, I was doing it for my parents. And so, man, my GPA must have been listening to the Yin Yang Twins, because that thing got low, bro. Low. So low, bro, that I got put on academic suspension. Not probation.
I was about to say, suspension, I heard probation. I ain't know there was a suspension.
They sent a letter home, because they sent a letter home, and I didn't even know it. And my mom called me, and she was like, hey, what are you going to do now? I was like, what do you mean what I'm going to do? She said, I just got this letter from the school that said, you got to sit out a year. Like, you know, you can go to like a community college or something like that. See, can you get your, you know, grades up, take courses, but you can't be on the campus of the U of A, bro.
Wow.
And so, you know, we talked about just like divine intervention, man. And so like, I always felt like just things worked out for me. So I went to one of my professors to where I had like a class and a lab. So I was like, man, I can get 2 grades changed. Went to him, I was like, look, then I sent a letter home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't go back home. Like, I didn't want to go back home. He was cool enough, man, to let me retake the class during the summer, not pay. He said, you just show up. I'm teaching this class. You show up for lab. And lo and behold, like, I think I had like a D and a C or something like that in the class. But that summer, I got an A and an A. And when he changed those grades, it got my GPA up to where I was on probation. Right. So then I could only take 9 hours. But I got to stay in school, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, for those kids, because we coach kids, mentor kids, like, have a plan. And like that plan might be, hey, I don't know what I want to do, but so start with those core classes. Hey, go ask your academic advisor, what core classes does everyone have to take? And then maybe write down, like, what are some things that interest you, and maybe take 1 or 2, like take 1 or 2 of those classes of a couple of things that interest you. Take your core, and then take 1 class of each, like a couple of things you might jot down that interest you. So I think like just having, because that's just a plan. Like, even though I don't know what I want, like I know these core classes I'm gonna have to take regardless of what my major is. So let me start off with those, and then maybe take 1 or 2 courses of something that pique my interest. And so yeah, I think not planning is one of the things too that, while we falter and like while we set that goal back in January and it's May, it's June, and we falter because we didn't have a plan, or you know, we try to jump out their head first too, bro. Like, you know, people who love meat, and then all of a sudden they want to be vegan or vegetarian. Like,
boy, that's
what? Like, you can't. Your body's not going to respond, because your body gonna be like, "What is this?" You know what I'm saying? So like, put a solid plan of like, okay, if I know I've been eating meat every day, let me just start off by cutting meat out 1 meal. Then let me take it to 2. Then let me take it to a day. You know what I'm saying? And then build up versus just trying to jump into the deep end, and you gonna sink and not swim.
I think that analogy is on point, man, because I do feel like, as we talk about, you know, resolutions and stuff, you know, dieting, body, losing weight, like that's always one that's at the top of the list. And I do feel like it's one of those things where, like you said, they're trying to do too much, and I think it too much too fast. And I also think that, like, this is even a thing with me, and you know, as I'm getting older, it's like, man, I can't do everything. It's like, I'll be like, well, man, I was an athlete, so I can just jump right in the gym and just start hitting that bitch. And then about 1 or 2 days, I'll be like, oh, my body be like, dang, like I gotta like ramp into that. So I think, you know, when you're talking about dieting and all those different types of things, you have to have a plan, and you also have to give yourself like grace. You know what I'm saying? So 100%. Just saying like, you know, hey, I'm not going to, you know, badmouth myself because, you know, I ended up having fast food today, or I ended up having meat today and I wasn't planning on it. It's like, hey, you got another day in front of you tomorrow. Let's get back into the swing of things from there. And so I think that is really core when we're talking about it, is that plan, because it's really like a roadmap. It's a GPS in terms of trying to get to your destination. So you're able to say like, hey, this is what I'm going to do this day, and that's going to get me a step closer. That's going to get me some miles closer to where I want to be at. But you definitely need that, and you definitely have to give yourself grace along the way, especially if you've been out of practice in some of these things for some while. Like if you said, if you've been eating meat or you've been eating fast food for a decade plus, you know, just trying to go all the way to say, hey, I'm just going to be eating salads and drinking juices. Like, it's going to take a little time.
Speaking of, like, so what are some ways like that you reset in life? Like, how do you hit that reset button, bro?
I think for me, man, it's something that I've continued to try to get better because I was a person for the longest, man, I didn't need a calendar or a plan in life. It was just like, man, okay, I'm good. I know what I need to do and I can kind of get there. But I feel like with, you know, trying to do this and grow this and, you know, build a youth sports organization and work and be a family man, it's like, dang, my brain is like, dang, where I'm supposed to be next? Because I'm not even sure. I think for me, it always comes down to focusing on what the priorities are. And that could be different for everybody. For me, but it just comes down to what are my priorities in life. I know for me specifically, just looking at different phases of my life and feeling like, man, this is a time where I wasn't really, you know, achieving anything. Like it on the outside, it may have seemed like it, but in the inside, it's like, man, I'm not where I feel like I need to be as a person. I think it just comes back to just centering myself, you know, with God as well. Okay. Because I've seen times where it's just like, hey, I'm not really pouring into that. And then, you know, I've had a, you know, a pastor of mine kind of tell me like, what you feed your body is what you become. It's almost like you are what you eat. But for me, I think that's the same thing mentally and spiritually. 100%. So if you're feeding yourself social media, then that's what your output is going to be. Is like, man, I need to be on there, you know, chasing vacations and talking about everything that I'm doing and giving all my highlights in life. If you're feeding yourself, you know, food, whether we're talking about food, if you're feeding yourself fast food and you're like, man, I feel sluggish or I feel tired or I feel, you know, then you need to stop and kind of say like, hey, what am I putting into my body? Physically, but also mentally, also spiritually to make me, you know, feel that way. And it's kind of, you know, getting that balance back to kind of saying like, hey, some of these things are just, you know, they're just, you know, things that are, you know, flashy and maybe lack substance. They're entertainment, but they're not really things that are going to drive you and help you get to where you need to be at. So I know those are things, you know, whether it's, I haven't really got a whole lot into meditation, but just really just centering my mind, whether it's reading, you know, whether it's, you know, I'm big into music. So sometimes just having, you know, soft music or some good jazz is playing. It's just kind of helping me, you know, reset and get good, man. Those are just some of my tactics, but I can definitely look and be like, man, I'm kind of moving. I'm going through the motions, but I'm not really getting anything out of my day to day.
Man, I think how I reset sometime is like, so I've tried to get better like at that meditation piece, man. So like my time for me, man, is at the end of the day, like, I go take a shower in the dark. Like I'm like it's pretty much in the dark. So I'll turn on some meditation music, man, and like just give myself shit. Sometime, bro, I could be in the shower for a long time. Like just sitting there. It could be just me praying. It could just me just saying like just thankful and being grateful, or just replaying the day on like how can I be better. And so like that's become my time. Like how I hit that reset button at the end of the day, good, bad, or indifferent. Or even, bro, like during the day, like I try to hit the reset button. So like this morning, taking my son to school, like getting in the car, he spilled part of his protein shake, and I was like, hey man, you gotta pay attention. Like I try to tell him like accidents happen. So then like I try to tell him too, hey, when you're finished drinking, hand it to me. Although you got cup holders back there, like so then I hit a turn to get ready to head toward the school, and he go, oh no, Dad, spilled all in my seat. And like for a moment, I almost lost it. And I said, hey, this is just a moment. Don't let this moment turn into a bad morning, which turned into a bad day. I could clean this up. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, I said, it's fine, man. Hey, just remember, like, here's your options. You got cup holders right here. You got cup holders right there. And then what I always tell you, you can hand it to me. So, like, let's take it as a learning experience, because, like, I didn't want to blow up at him, and then he got to go into school. Like, I just disappointed Dad. And so head down. Man, let's walk with our head up. So I try to reset in those moments, man, and, like, check myself, because I don't want to respond out of anger. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not perfect. I say, the gym and Jesus keep me sane, man. Whew. So I can definitely tell like when I'm not reading and writing. I'm a big writer, man. I'm a big component of writing. Like also too, people who not big talkers, like, you know, we're big on therapy and stuff. Like if you don't feel like you feel safe enough to share with anybody, like write it down. Because just getting it out helps as you reset. I'm a big also too, like trying to prepare for the next day. So sometimes like when I'm in the shower or something, like I'm writing down what I need to do because I'm already getting, you know, I just talked about, we got to make so many damn decisions on a day-to-day basis. Hey, how can I go ahead and already help myself out by setting reminders and stuff like that, so I just know, like, I'm not trying to think, oh, like, what's to do next? Now, you don't have to be like me, because, like, bro, I'm over the top with it. Like, so I'll be like, all right, 4:15 to 4:45. Like, he might be like, wake up and pray. Then, like, 4:45 to 4:55, like, get ready to go to the gym. And then, like, I'm that. And so, like, sometimes, like, if you're, like, it could be overwhelming. So you don't have to do that. But, like, get some, like, what's my top priority? Like you just said, what's my top priorities for the day, man? I think that helps actually, you know, reset. And, like, right now, like, we talk about, like, when things aren't going your way, like, how do you also, like, what are some times in your life where you, like, had to just, like, reset? And so, like, right now for me, man, like, we talked about, like, I was somewhere for 14 years, and I just thought, man, I was going to be here, you know, 20, 25 years in. Hey, boom, let me see what's next. And it didn't end the way I thought it would end. You know what I'm saying? How I expected it to end. And so now I'm also, too, like, well, shit, like, what's next? Like, do I go just try to find, like, another corporate job because that's what I've done? Or do I go chase what I feel like is a gift of mine? And that's one, continue to mentor and develop kids and individuals with not only like just training, but also to life coaching. Like, do I just start to build my brand? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not being afraid, because like fear failure, what we talk about, procrastination, why people don't reach their goals, because it's like, what is it going to take for me to get there? And like, hey, God, I know the money I was making, if I start over, but then it's like, if I just say, let me fall back into a comfortable corporate job, am I putting limits on God?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're saying, I think the thing with reset, I think it's with adversity, because I went through a similar situation. I went through probably a 4-year stretch of just adversity after adversity. I think for me, it's about taking time to understand and feel all those feelings that come with it, right? Because there's feelings that come with it, you know, whether it's, hey, am I inadequate? Was I not good enough for that? You know,
because I'm still processing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. As I'm talking about this, I'm still processing.
Yes, sir. That's hard
all of it. All of it.
I think you gotta feel those feelings, because if you don't, I feel like they're gonna come back and bite you at a time when maybe you don't want them to. So you gotta process that. I think the step from there, the thing for me is, don't let that consume you. Don't let that be the person that, and again, it's not to minimize mental health. We are not mental health experts.
Absolutely
so please
not.
Don't.
We're not. We're
just talking about our opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Don't try to sue us, because you tried what we said and it didn't work.
In ways that we feel like we deal with things, but I feel like the next thing from there is, like, you don't want to be that person that's like, I went through all of this and I'm homeless now, because things just kind of snowballed and avalanched, and it got away from you. And I think some of it too is, and you've talked about it in episodes before, is those affirmations. Because I think that helps you. A lot of times you just have to understand, and I just had a conversation with my dad the other day, and we were talking about some organizational stuff, and he was just saying, you know, don't let someone else's problem become your problem.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, you know, when layoffs and, you know, different things happen, like, I've had multiple people tell me, like, hey, that could have been that person and what they were dealing with, and that cascaded down on you.
Yeah.
But a lot of times in our mind, we just go down to that. We go to that self-doubt rabbit hole of, man, am I not good? And we're human. So
100%.
that's totally right for us to go through those things. But I do think that there's that level of, pushing through, and that mental toughness that you need to be able to have to kind of say, hey, I'm not going to let this define me.
Yeah.
If you take it back to the sports, realm of things, of like, hey, that's like someone telling me I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not good enough to make this shot, or I can't make that pass. I want to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
When we talk about competitors that we've known or people that we've looked up to, that was the spirit that they had, was like, oh, Tom Brady. Oh, that's what you're going to say about me? All right, let me show you. Yeah. So I think, having played sports, and I love the realm of sports, because it's so much, when you really think about it, it's so true that it is a microcosm of life.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
So you go through those
100%,
things.
Yeah.
And it can help teach you, like, hey, you can bring that competitive spirit to say, hey, you let me go? All right. Yeah. I'm not gonna let you make me think that I'm not this. Yeah. I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna make you. And then when I get to this point, and some people are more humble, and they not gonna get into that, and then others are like, no, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna put it in your face when I'm done doing it.
I think it's a balance too, man, of being fueled by, I guess, others doubting you, but also being fueled by your own passions. Because it's like, if I'm only fueled by you telling me what I can or can't accomplish, once I accomplish that, or what's next?
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And so, like, I think that's why you also have to know, like, what you want, and be self-motivated too as well, because once that fuel runs out, that gas that they was pouring out on you, then the fire's gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I keep my own fire?
Yes. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely about balance, because that can be obsessive at some point. And like you said, once that, okay, you get there, and then you're like, okay, well, I did that. And it's like, okay, what's next? So I think it does have to be, true to you. And I think it also, you also have to understand that there's so many, different factors and stuff. I've seen these different things in, all of my industries. There was a period of time where, if you've watched this podcast, if you haven't, used to work for Kraft Foods, used to work for Oscar Mayer. And there was a period of time, right around like 2015, where Heinz and Kraft Foods were merging together. And actually it was an acquisition. Heinz was acquiring Kraft, and I think they had them by 51% to 49%. But during that period of time, there were some Brazilian investors called 3G that were taking over. And so there's like this waiting period. I forgot the technical term, but there's this waiting period between when things can go official for, mergers and acquisitions, basically making sure that they're not, breaking any rules or any laws, right? So everyone's reading these books. It was called The 3G Way, about these investors, and they're like, these people are ruthless. They come in, they slash, and they getting rid of. So fast forward, everything goes final. We're finally one company. I'm on a trip at a plant in South Carolina. I have 3 other people with me. And I wake up, we go down to the lobby, we're getting ready to go. And everybody's like, man, I got this email that I need to, talk to HR and all of this different stuff later on in the day. And I check my phone. I'm like, okay, I don't have anything. Now, at this time, we didn't know anything. It was probably, so we were Eastern time frame back at headquarters, Oscar Mayer headquarters. It was about maybe 10 minutes till 8 a.m. So we're getting ready to leave. 9 a.m. East Coast, but 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, people just start getting, emails and instant messages and texts like, man, such and such just went in the office and they came out and they got let go. So pretty much that day, like, they were just slashing left and right. Like, we kept getting notices about different people. And so me kind of smarting up, it's like, I think the 3 people that's with me, I think they about to get let go. and I was the only one that hadn't got anything. So I'm trying to like calm them down, and I'm like, man, I don't know like what's going I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's no need to freak out. Like, let's just, but their mind mentally
for sure
was like fried. They was like, man, I'm hearing from everybody else. Like, this the Titanic. It's about to go down. But I say all of that to say a couple of years later, many of them that they had got fired. And then we were given a chance to they were going to close down that facility and move us down to Chicago. Would let me go down to that area. I would catch up with different ones and run into them in different spaces. And they all were like, man, Alex, that was one of the best things that happened to me in life. And they were telling me about their new positions. Almost everybody had been promoted, because it's funny, when we were there, everybody was like, man, they don't treat me good enough here, and I should be this and I should be that. And then you had that shock to your system when you're laid off. But once you process everything, it was like, that was really the kick in the butt I needed in life to get to where I wanted to go through from there. And so I think, we both believe that nothing just happens just for no reason.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of times, and I know in the situation when I was in that boat and where I'm at now, I can look back and say, that was one of the best things that happened to me in life, even though I couldn't see it at that period in time.
Yeah. And then, who's to say, a year from now on the pod, bro, I'm saying the same thing. Like,
right?
Hey, being let go, man, like that was the kick in the butt that I needed. Because God knew I was too comfortable. Like, he just knew I was way too comfortable. He was like, hey, son, I need you to grow.
Yes.
In order for you to grow, I need them to let you go.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just still in this space of just being quiet and trying to listen, man.
Absolutely.
I got friends looking out, man, sending me jobs, and like, I haven't applied. You know what I'm saying? Because like, part of me wants still process, and then like that rejection piece. Like, I feel like I said, like, things have always worked out for me. Like college, like, bro, they have sent a letter home. Mom called, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's been other times in my life where like shit just worked out for me. So I just knew, even when they let me go, like, they give you a grace period of like, hey, you can look for a new job. So I was like, ain't no way, I ain't finna land at least a lateral or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I think also too, I'm still processing like, damn, I didn't land something. You know what I'm saying? So
it messes with your mind.
Yeah, but then also too, I think like, this also could be like what I was praying for, because I've been saying like,
yes,
God, don't just give me a job, put me where you want me to be. And so I'm looking at every, like, trying to look at every rejection as that's not where he wanted me to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I, like you said, like, I don't think things happen by osmosis. Us meeting didn't happen. Us being on supply development together, you walking, you checking me. Hey, bro, what you working on?
I straight up was like, hey, man, that don't look like no work. What's going on, man?
Yeah, you looking at that and you pitching me this, and, we didn't jump on it then, but then, like, neither one of us are at the same company now, but, like, we met.
Yeah.
And now we're here and we're connected. I think also, too, man, things are going to work out. Like, as you talk about, like, you build your basketball organization, and like I said, like, I do personal development. I feel like there's going to be, not only here with the podcast, things that we're going to do outside.
Absolutely.
Things just synergizing and linking up together, man. So man, what would you want what do you want the people to leave with today, man, about just like, hey, you might have set some goals or resolutions and you fell off, like,
man,
what do you want them to put on your to-go plate? I'm stumbling all over my words. Bro. What do you want
to-go plate? We at that part of the episode. I think for me, maybe 2 or 3 things. I think rejection and adversity is not the end of the story. It's just the beginning of the next chapter.
Hey, he stole my. Hey, I don't have to think because I was. Go ahead.
I even. Hey, just to let y'all give y'all a little bit of behind the scenes. Yeah. We don't rehearse. No, we got topics and we just come. We come straight off the dome. So I didn't know that. That's just a. Hey, that's.
I didn't have one, but as we were talking, I was like, okay, this is. Because I'm gonna let you finish yours. Because all I was gonna say was I was gonna tell him, like, don't look at something as the end of the chapter, but the beginning of something new. So when you started talking, I was like,
he's like, man,
yeah,
hey,
finish yours, and then let me think of something else. Like,
I'm gonna give us some time to reload over there.
Yeah.
Don't look at adversity and rejection as that, man. A lot of time, and whatever you believe in, the universe, God, whatever you have a higher belief in, it has a way of aligning us in the way that we're supposed to. And I think we've talked about a couple of different things. We've talked about college. We've talked about careers on here. We've talked about finance. Some of where we're at today is just because the script for us in life was to.
Okay, well, we got a little time. You want to get some points about finance, or you want you brought up finance? We got a little time, and you want to say something?
I was necessarily just saying that, for us, we had a script set up in our life. If you came up around a certain age range, me and Don are both millennials, then it was go to school for most of us, get good grades. Some of us, I know we've had, friends around our age who could have been the first to graduate from their family out of college. Yeah. So it was about, living the American dream, which was, hey, go to college, get a good job, get married, get some pets, have some kids, go vacation, get the white picket fence, right? Yeah. And now we've started to see that, okay, that's not the box, that's not the dream that I want to live in. Yeah. I'm a dream differently than everyone else, and I have a right to go out and pursue that. So I think now that more people are going to say, we had Twyla on here, and she went through something and kind of said, you know what, this is going to be my next phase. We've had a lot of people. We had Don Blake, an Olympian on here that says, hey, this is going to be my next phase getting out of, running track. Yeah. I think it's about, how do you look at it as your next phase of life? How do you go after that? And understand that, life is going to be, filled with ups and downs. Yeah. But it just goes back down to, when you get knocked down, get back up. Yeah. Yeah, you get knocked down again, you get back up again. That doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, that it doesn't make you sad, it doesn't make you mad, but don't let those things in life defeat you and take your joy away. Yeah. And the second thing I would say is there's growth in being uncomfortable. A lot of times we get used to, that paycheck coming in and that stock, it's bonus time, all that, and you're just like, you know what? It makes you feel like this isn't too bad. I keep doing this. A year goes by, 3 years go by, 5 years go by. But live your life based off of the purpose that you have. We all have a purpose here on this earth. Yeah. We all have footprints that we can leave. Figure out what yours is and live it to it. And it may not be the blueprint that everybody else has laid out. Okay. I probably took a lot of stuff. I put a lot of food on my plate. So I hope
he got about 2-3 plates. 2-3 plates.
I hope all
aluminum foil, everything, bro.
I even got some drinks to go too, man.
2 hands. You got to carry this place with 2 hands.
I think I left a little bit for DapperDom.
I think sometimes, man, we talk about like, I'm gonna do this one day, or I'm gonna do that one day. I think instead of saying one day, say day one. This is day one. You know what I mean? Because we sometimes, like, it'd be a middle week. I'm going to start that diet. I'm going to start this exercise plan. I'm going to look for this on Monday. Like, I'm going to start the week off. No. Day one is tomorrow. Okay. And then whether good, bad, or indifferent, whether I have some successes, whether I have some failures, restart the next day. Like, all right, today's day one. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I didn't eat the way I wanted to eat, or I missed my workout, or, hey, I spent more money than I wanted to. Boom, let me reset. Tomorrow is day one. It's a new day. Yeah. So that's what I would say, man. Just look at life as day one. Put one foot in front of the other. And as you plan it out, man, put small steps, put small goals within that big goal. Because I think like that way you can get that snowball effect of like, all right, ooh, I missed a meal. Like I had a meal without meat. Oh, now I had 2 meals without meat. Yeah. Now I've went a whole day without meat. Oh, now I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Your body. So the same thing with saving money. I saved $5, but now I've saved 10 to 20. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that may be, like put those small steps to get that snowball effect, get it going instead of just trying to jump off the deep end. And then you sink instead of swim, man. So yeah.
I think that's a good point you just made too about I think sometimes that guilt of not doing right or not going to plan makes us get away from it. Because we're like, oh man, like I messed up. I can't even get back into the swing of things. Right. So I love that one. Yeah. Those are some good ones. Yeah. Some good ones for sure.
Yeah. What you tell them, they gonna leave with what?
Hey, remember at the cookout, you leave with more than just food on your plate, man. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all rocking with us, man.
Hey, we out.